I hate to break the fishing news after Remchuk, but I'd like to speak about the ice hockey.
Congratulations, you're one of the 13 listeners of the Real Life Podcast.
We just traded a migraine in for like an orgasm.
Might want to mark that down.
Yep. All of my projects are on schedule until they're not.
A member of the Nation Network of Podcasts.
About as funny as we're going to get today.
Episode number 276 of the Real Life Podcast. Hello, I'm Tyler Rumchuk. Chalmers, Jay, Bag Milk's here. Maybe Wanye. I'm holding out hope that he'll show up for today's podcast. Anyways, this podcast is brought to you by Oodle Noodle. 14 locations in Edmonton, more coming. Find them on your favorite food delivery app, or if you pick it up in person or do the curbside, a proceed of that purchase will go towards a local charity. Fantastic stuff. You already know about that because we talk about it twice a week on this show. But yeah, there's been a lot of online reaction. I'm jumping right into things here. I'm not even saying like, how's it going to anyone. People are very passionate about donairs, and I knew that, but I got thrown right into the shits over the last week of people just like having hissy fits online about a fucking type of food.
There was some passionate feedback. Yeah, I would say.
And I don't know, like the people who are like, you didn't eat a donair because you didn't hold it right. It's like, well, what do you mean? Like if you eat a hamburger upside down, like you're still eating a hamburger.
Well, the thing that got roasted was the lettuce, how much lettuce is on it. And I feel like I'm an Edmonton donair man. I'm proudly YEG inside and out. And so I want lettuce on my donair because that's what an Edmonton donair has. But I think what people were seeing is the fact that your Remchuk completely unwrapped the donair like it was 7 a.m. on Christmas morning and ate it like a taco, like the Queen would eat a taco. It really kind of accentuated the lettuce. You couldn't see the guts of the donair. So I think maybe the donair got put a little bit on blast because of all the lettuce it had or how it was being presented. So it looked like it was all lettuce. But it is a very passionate subject and something that is very Edmonton to be passionate about donairs.
I guess I was just kind of annoyed with it. I was just annoyed by it by like day 2 of like being tagged in tweets of people being like, hey, idiot, you don't know how to eat a fucking donair, you fucking moron. And it's like, well, 1, my first time. So like whatever. 2, who cares?
Perfect. As a rookie, you did everything wrong, which is everything right. Like that's the way it should be. But this is a content opportunity. We're going to take you for a good donair outside. I'm going to walk you through how you eat one. I actually had a donair for lunch. They had a lunch donair meeting, outdoor lunch donair meeting. What a way to kick off a Monday. I'll tell you that much.
And Jay, you feeling fresh or what?
Well, I did the right thing. I got just the regular donair. I didn't go jumbo. I got the lunch size donair. I feel great.
Mm-hmm. I'm on Team Chalmers here. I am no more sober donairs. I've had one now. I'll have them probably when I'm drunk, but I don't think I'm a sober donair guy.
You and I are going for a sober donair. I'm sorry. It's happening.
You know what the thing is, Chuck? The reaction to your donair makes me even more anti-donair.
Yeah.
Because, like, honestly, everybody, go fuck yourselves. What does it matter how he eats the damn thing? It's absolutely ridiculous. Donair Reddit can calm down. If you're just looking in your life to be pissed off about something, or if you wanted to enter the fray and just give your Remchuk some shit, then, I mean, that's fine. But when we're talking about just lettuce, when you're getting super passionate and calling him an idiot because of the way he opened his very first donair, act like you've made a mistake in your life. The guy didn't know how to open a donair. So what? Doesn't change the way it tastes.
Well, that was kind of my point.
Chalmers, this is part of being on a podcast. Is we leave ourselves open to criticism and compliments. So yes, I would have ripped on your Remchuk too, because he did donairs dirty.
The one thing about criticism and that shit is we're allowed to rebut it. Not saying 100%. We can't say what we have to say.
100%. But to their point, they can say it too.
What I have to say is, if you just want to be part of the conversation, then I like it. I really do. I think there was a couple too many people that I think were just taking this shot to be like, donair super fan, like stick up for the donair, like almost soccer fan or somebody like that. It's like,
but buddy, that's the uniqueness about donairs. It is soccer hooligan levels of passion.
Oh yeah,
and that's what makes them so special.
Yeah.
I just feel like everyone was sticking up for the donair and no one was sticking up for me.
Well, because who's Edmonton? Yaremchuk, you or the donair?
I think there's a debate to be had. Which one's more of a hero?
Wow.
Just saying.
Wow. Donairs say lives. And also a donair derivative, the GYRO, I believe is pronounced hero anyway. So maybe donairs are.
The one from my mentions, what I did notice was I gave the people who have been silent of voice, the people that don't like donairs. I saw a lot of them come out and force in support of, you know what? It's okay not to like a donair. Yep. It's okay. It doesn't make me any less Albert. It doesn't make me any less Edmontonian. It doesn't make me anything other than somebody who simply doesn't like a lunchtime, a dinner time, an anytime.
Chalmers just likes to hate on things that everyone, the majority, likes.
I mean, that's not true. In a few, I wouldn't call myself a contrarian. I mean, there is certain things. And I remember I dug in real early on sushi. I thought that people just ate sushi because they thought they were cool. You know, it's like, oh, we're going for sushi. We're going to go over some sushi on Sunday. Sushi Sunday.
God, I love sushi.
Nobody actually likes raw fish with just rice. Like, there's no fucking way. Sushi. So, but hey, too. I love sushi too. It's really fucking good.
What's going on right now?
Yeah, Chalmers didn't like the culture around saying going for sushi.
I didn't like the culture around it. And so, but then I started eating it. Then I just wanted to be with my friends at lunch on Sunday. And so I would go and I would make fun of them the whole time. And I'd eat my bento box. And then I started trying some sushi. And you know, it's something to be said for maybe the culture around stuff like sushi and donairs is stopping people from becoming donair fans.
I'll tell you one thing about the culture of donairs. Donairs is like, you only go with your good friends for a donair. Like you don't go like you don't socially just say like, I'm meeting someone for the first time. Let's go grab a donair. Like it or let's have a right. Like I'll have business meetings over donairs, but it's with like someone I know really well, and that's why we're doing it. Like it's a deeper going for a donair it's a
you're not helping.
Deep relationship. Yes, it is. It's a
there's
deep
a deeper meaning to a donair date. Is that what you're saying?
There is, man, because you only go with your close friend. And that means something.
So like when you wanted to tell your now live-in girlfriend that you loved her, was it over were you like, this is next level, babe? We're going for a donair. Like that's how serious this stuff is.
Best believe I got her from a anti-donair person to now a pro-donair person.
Wore down, eh?
No, I just had to have a couple sittings of donairs. You know, when the feeling's right, I said every time it's like we should get delivery, I always say donairs first. I should be saying oodle noodle, but I'm saying donairs first because I got to catch her because she'll maybe 1 out of 10 times she'll say yes. And then I gotta lean into it. And that's kind of how we built it to the point where it'll be like, oh, we should get donairs tonight. And I'm like, oh, yes, let's have a donair tonight.
My take on sushi is that I don't have one because I've never eaten it.
Oh my God.
Sakes.
Come on, man.
Yeah.
Oh,
wait,
I'm not going to deliver sushi.
No, you shouldn't. But I feel like that could become an interesting segment maybe over the summer, like Yaremchuk tries stuff. Because there's a lot of foods.
That's a video series we're doing. Yeah.
I've never had shrimp.
What?
Just shrimp in general?
I've never gotten into seafood.
Oh,
clearly.
Man. Okay. This is summer content. This is wild.
So here's my thing.
Yeah.
I tend to be somebody who stays in my lane for food. I don't branch out all that much, but I've tried almost everything because of the experiences of going to different places. You had to have found yourself at like a Japanese village and they give you the obligatory first 4 shrimps and you just give them away, or like you just never been? Or
he's probably never been to Japanese village, Chalmers. That's the problem.
I think I was once when I was like really little, but never in my adult life.
Oh,
I fucking love. I will eat a boatload of shrimp right now. I love shrimp.
I think I would like it.
It has to be. You know what? I
don't dare try it.
I'm not a cooked. I love cooked shrimp. I cannot eat cold raw shrimp. It's just Something about it.
Cooked.
Not doesn't
they're
taste.
cooked.
Yeah, they're cooked. Like the
They're
shrimp.
still
Like, you know what I mean?
cooked.
Okay, so not
Yeah.
but
A
like
shrimp
with
ring.
like a shrimp cocktail. Yeah, like a shrimp ring.
I'm not a big cocktail sauce fan guy.
I'll murder a shrimp cocktail.
I'll just crush the shrimp.
So okay, so we've got donairs out of the way. We've now heard sushi and shrimp. If you had to say one more thing that would absolutely blow us away that you've never eaten, what would you pick?
He's gonna come up with like fucking lasagna or something. Like just
I don't. I ate a lot of lasagna growing up, and I don't like it.
You don't like lasagna?
No, I would rather not eat lasagna.
Wow. Okay.
Like any seafood, I've never had seafood.
So you've never had mussels? You've never had like
no
escargot or anything like that?
No, on Saturday.
Yeah.
All right, so we're going on an exotic. Well, to your Remchuk for your Remchuk, it's an exotic food tour. For us, just normal Canadian
a nice
diet.
meal. Yeah.
We're gonna expose you to some food.
Sure.
Push your comfort zone a little bit and have you try a shrimp or two.
I've never fully eaten an onion ring.
See, I'm not. That's interesting to say. Fully eat an onion ring.
You just like nibbled it.
I think I've had like a bite or whatever, but I've never like sat down and like, oh, I'm getting onion rings.
I thought maybe you take that bite to rip it in half and then just eat the breading and take the onion out. And throw it away.
And I like onion, but
I don't like onions, but I will have onion rings from time to time. I can't eat like a ton of them, but that's just because I'm not a big onion guy. But just to fully eat an onion, that's so particular.
So I want to if we're just down food stories right now. On Friday night, I was like super hungry and I hadn't eaten. And my wife's like, I'm going to pick us up something. I'm going to get us wraps from Remedy. And I'm like, don't know what Remedy is. Never. I've heard of it. Don't know what it is. She knows there's only one type of food in the whole world I don't eat. And it's Indian because it just doesn't agree with me. It's just not like, it has not always to do with the taste. It just has to do with how I feel after. It's like the donair, and when I was like, yeah, sounds great. I was expecting like a BLT or something. And she came home with like 3 wraps. And they were, one was a butter chicken wrap. One was a chicken masala wrap. And then there was another one, right?
Oh, man.
I love Remedy wraps.
Have you ever
turning me on right
hungry,
now? You're like Ben Stiller in Along Came Polly.
Yes. So excited.
Nice pull.
To be so disappointed. And then just like, I had oh man. Food. Really polarizing.
Legit.
There is, I honestly feel super lucky listening to this conversation because I'm a complete trash pit, meaning I will eat anything and probably enjoy it. Like you're talking about how Indian food doesn't agree with you. All I can think about is, man, I would love a chicken tikka masala right now. Like I would fucking love one. Sushi, like if I could get one of those places with a nice little train that goes around.
Oh, love the train. Train or boat.
I will sit there all day. I love this, so I can't wait.
Yeah, I'm more of a sushi boat man myself.
Yeah, I do prefer my sushi floats than by rail for sure.
Yeah.
What else you got, Tyler? Anything else that comes to mind? Then
no, I think that's kind of all of it. Like I was
thinking about it.
I was a really, really picky eater growing up, fucking obviously, and I just haven't been in a lot of situations where I've been pushed to try new things. I'll let the donair. But I think this summer, maybe that's a goal I'll set is like every week I'll want to try something new. I'll come back. I'll report on it. I think that'll be good.
No. We're building a video series. We're going to go and check out cool local establishments and try new things for Tyler. Because there's also things I want to go and try that I haven't had.
See, I'm not getting wild though. Like I'm not eating alligator or anything like that.
See, that's not even wild. No, alligator tastes like, it's a pop up, but it tastes like a rubbery chicken.
I draw the line at reptiles.
Kangaroo also good. You name it. Tyler, you name
kangaroo is so good.
It is really good.
I've never had
some of the weird shit. I've eaten it. I guarantee I've eaten so many weird things, bugs, all different kinds of animals, snakes, all kinds of reptiles.
I've never had like deer or moose meat.
We could do that today. I could bring you some today.
Wow. Yeah, I've never had that. And like, again, there's no reason why I shouldn't like it. I should enjoy it.
Yeah, we got a lot of hunters in my family. So we've always got, some venison's nice, really nice deer, garlic sausage kind of.
Oh, deer sausage is the best.
With this video series that we're going to do for your Remchuk, and it's going to be called Your Remchuk Tries. are we going to go sit down at I'm coming. I've invited myself. I don't care. I'm part of it.
It has to be a licensed,
it has to be a licensed establishment. Yeah, I saw. I got added to the Instagram bio, which was nice. Mm-hmm. Remember somebody asked about that like a month ago. They're like, "You guys, we're going to add this guy to? Is he part of the show or not?"
I remembered I tried to do it like 3 or 4 months ago now, and it was there weren't enough characters to fit everything I wanted in there with adding your name, and then I gave up and I forgot about it for like 3 months.
Yeah, it's cool, but I some parameters. This should be a licensed establashment.
Well, we're not going fucking like eating out of somebody's car.
Well, if it's your Rimchuck Tries, this has got more than just food to it, because it could be like your Rimchuck Tries tap dancing.
Oh my God. Can you imagine going to like Japanese Village? He'd get to try sake, like real nice, good, warm
really nice sake. It would be great.
Man,
what a treat.
We got a lot of work to do. This is more for us than it is for you, Rimchuck. So I can't wait.
So.
I'm just looking forward to seeing Tyler's face when he sees an onion volcano. You know, it'd be great.
Yeah, I think this has potential here. Anyways, getting around
Anthony
the quarter mark pod.
Wow, we did it, eh? We had some air to fill. We really did it.
A story I teased to you guys at the end. We stopped recording last episode because it was so busy. And I mentioned that I didn't tell you guys about how I fell off my bike a few weeks ago.
Oh, yes. I'm loving. I can't wait to hear this.
Yeah. It's a whole ordeal. People who listen to the radio show I'm on know about this now. But I forgot to say it on the pod. So I bought my girlfriend and I very excited because we got bikes. We're living like, central in St. Albert. So everything is biking distance for us. It's fantastic. So we were excited to get bikes so we could cruise around. I didn't want to spend a lot. 2, I hadn't owned a bike in a while. So I just went to a random store. I won't say the name. Went to a random store, saw a bike for, a pretty cheap price. And I was like, that's good enough for me. So I bought it, rode it around one day. It was fine. Rode it around the second time. And I was going and I was kind of telling that when I would switch gears, like it kind of felt weird. And I was like, okay, that's odd, but whatever. I was riding my bike home from where I went. I did a little backyard visit. This was again, a couple weeks ago, did a little backyard visit with a buddy. I'm riding my bike home, going. I'm flipping through all the gears, just kind of testing it out, feeling out things. And I flip into a lower gear and the chain just like seized up. Like it just stopped. And I went, and I was going pretty quick. I went right over the handlebars, like a comedy thing, man. Like
you got what you paid for.
Yeah. So I flipped over and like, as I'm like in the air, I could see my girlfriend on her bike, like coming behind me. So I kind of had to like almost contort myself to like not get ran over by her. And I landed like hard on my shoulder and my wrist, right shoulder, right wrist. I like
went down
road
like rash?
No, it actually wasn't that bad. Like a couple little nicks on my hand, but my shoulder's super fucked up. I'll get to that in a second. Anyways, I was so tangled up, like my handlebars had like flipped the wrong way. Like they had gotten like screwed around. My foot, I couldn't get my foot out of my handlebars. It was like wrapped up in wires and shit. My girlfriend had to come like untangle me. A lady ran over and was like, I know first aid. Like, don't worry. And I was like, well, I'm fine. It just like, I'm not that fine, but like, I don't need like mouth to mouth.
Do you have first aid for Pride?
Yeah, I was going to say, how's the Pride feeling? Like 2 out of 10 here.
Yeah. It's like I got up, couldn't ride my bike home because it like didn't really work. And the handlebars were all fucked up. So I had to go like the last like 10 minutes of my journey was like me sad walking my fucking bike home. I also, since it was the second time I rode it, I hadn't gotten a helmet yet. So it could have been like really fucking bad. So I'm lucky I braced my fall with my shoulder. Next day I bring my bike back into the store and I'm like, this is broken. I got this like a week ago and it's pooched. And the person goes, oh, we don't do returns on bikes. And I was like, yeah, but like, what do you mean you don't do returns on bikes? Like this bike is broken. And he was like, well, calls over a manager. The first manager is like, yeah, go pick out a new one. We'll exchange it, but you're not getting your money back. Like, fuck me. So I go to the back. They have like no good bikes left. And now I'm at the point where I kind of just want a good bike because I learned my lesson about cheaping out on it. And there's an associate back there who's like, hey, I sold you your bike. And I was like, damn right you did, man. Like it's fucking broken. So eventually we talked to like 3 different managers. Eventually they just, I think, wanted to get me out of the store. And we're like, we will give you your money back because the bike was defective, which it was. I don't think I'm in the wrong for demanding a refund in that scenario. And I went and I got a new bike now. And my shoulder, every morning I wake up and it is like a sharp pain. The first few times I need to like lift up my arm. And then for the rest of the day, it's like super sore. And it's probably been that way for about 10 days now.
Oh, shit. That's your throwing arm.
It's my throwing arm.
No chance your girlfriend had like a some kind
Camera?
of GoPro on, right?
No,
Dash
but
cam?
man, I honestly kind of wish we would have had it on video because like the memory, I like vividly remember like looking down and seeing myself like flip over the handlebars. Like, whoa, it felt like it happened so slow. Yeah.
So with bikes, so did you go when you went and bought a new one?
Yeah.
Did you actually like spend a little extra and get a little bit of a better bike?
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
in my history, I buy a lot of things and I research them really pretty thoroughly. And I've made that same mistake where I bought a long time ago. I bought a bike thinking, this is just going to be to the park and back.
Yeah.
And it was, and for like 2 years, I was okay with it. But when something on a cheap bike breaks down, you're paying for like the lightweight of the frame, but it's the gears, it's the brake, those things, if they're cheap, they almost don't work right away. Right.
Yeah.
And if you have to get them fixed, it's expensive. And so like spending a little bit extra money on bikes is just one of those things I've learned over time that it saves you a lot of headache, and a good bike will last a long time.
Well, I've now got a crazy fear to ride a bike because now I think the possibility of your chain locking up is like real.
It was insane, man. For it to come out of nowhere, like it's not like I hit a patch of something. It was literally like so instant, like click. And then next thing you know, I'm like in the air. There was like bang, bang. And like over I go. And
just never switch gears. Never slow down, buddy.
Yep.
I feel like that store might have come from, or the store that you bought that bike from, which probably doesn't sell like the highest quality of bike.
No.
Probably rhymes with Canadian Fire.
The store I went and got a different bike from was definitely like a pretty reputable spot to get bikes from. But I'm happy now. I've ridden my new bike. I've gotten this new one now. We've been out and about. The gears work fine. Haven't fallen off. So things seem to be going better, but like golfing and all that with this fucking shoulder, man, like I think I actually need to go to a doctor because like it's not really getting better. It's almost like getting worse as I keep going.
It's going to get worse before it gets better for sure.
Yeah. We were talking about rotator cuffs this weekend while we were golfing. If it's your rotator cuffs. Yeah. If it's your rotator cuff, that ain't never coming back.
Or Tyler, it's like I was telling you last week was that Oilers Nation Radio where I could pull my left shoulder just clean out of its socket, no problem.
That's so fucking gross. How many bones? Like, what have you broken, Bag Milk? Give me like the Bag Milk IR report.
Broken bones, not very many. I broke 2 ribs playing hockey, but that's the only thing I've broken. But injuries, like my left shoulder, I fucked up real good in bantam. Like I dislocated really, really badly. Dislocated my kneecap.
That one was gross.
Yeah, that one was really gross. A bunch of like when I used to skateboard and stuff, I used to have to get rocks pulled out from underneath my hands all the time, like in my hands. But that's about it. Really nothing broken.
Speaking of really severely gruesome injuries, did any of you guys watch the UFC this weekend?
Gnarly.
Two fights in a row, and we get to bear witness to 2 of the most freak leg injuries you've ever seen. So for anybody that didn't watch it,
there was 2?
Yes.
Back to back, man. And the first one, the guy took
I don't know which one I saw then.
Okay, well, listen, the one behind the knee. This guy got kicked behind the knee. And it clearly severed a nerve. And so his foot fell asleep, basically. And his
ankle gave out or something.
His ankle just gave out, and he just was walking on it like completely rolled over. And he was trying to fight. And it was just the most gruesome, disgusting thing. And then in the next fight, this guy, Chris Weidman, who's like, he's a vet. He's been there for a long time, and everybody really likes this guy. He lost a fight to Uriah Hall, and Uriah Hall now has the record of being the first UFC fighter to ever win a match without throwing a punch or a kick.
Jeez.
All he did, they walked to the center of the ring. Chris Weidman went to give him a shin kick, and his leg basically wrapped around Uriah Hall's leg. Blah. And he broke his tibia like right in the middle of it. Like right in the middle of his shin.
That's the one I saw.
And then just fell down. And it was like back to back, almost like pure gag moments. Like I was freaking out. I had a couple, and I was just like, couldn't watch it. It was so disgusting.
Yeah, it was wild.
I saw the broken bone one. So that it's just that is so fucking gnarly. It is just unbelievable. Like I could not imagine. And then you just kind of, and then even the Joe Rogan reaction GIF that was going around was just bananas. The whole, I don't know
that
which
was to
one of
something
those
completely
were from.
different. No, that was to the I think his reaction was for to the female
Rose.
fight.
Yeah, Thug Rose.
Rose, yeah,
when she knocked out the champion, he did it. But then he did it again when Masvidal got knocked out. He did it both times with the arms stretched right out.
Yeah.
That's not even the biggest story from this weekend's UFC. The biggest story comes from Jake Paul. And Jake Paul is just like the king of trolls right now, right? He's winning. And it sucks when you see a guy who's like such a troll and he knows he's a troll and everybody hates him. The whole crowd's chanting, fuck Jake Paul. And he gets in kind of the face of like Daniel Cormier, who's one of the announcers and a former UFC heavyweight champion. And, you know, he's getting in the guy's face and Dana White's there and it's just getting weird. And then he comes out and calls out Daniel Cormier and says, I want to fight him. And then he says something after the fight. And it's like, well, the guy's got a point. Okay. He's made more money boxing as a non-professional boxer than almost every single UFC fighter other than Conor McGregor and who's got Ben Askren now. Yeah. And both of these two had to go outside of the UFC to get their paydays. And when he says that to Dana White, like, pay your fighters, man. Like, or that's why they keep coming to fight me. You kind of sit back and you go, the guy's not wrong. Right? Dana White's been questioned numerous times about paying his fighters. We've obviously seen the problem in him paying his fighters in the fact that John Jones won't come back and fight, and everybody wants to see it, but it's always about the money, you know. And it's
really, like I don't watch all that much UFC. What's a purse like like the championship purse? Like what would it have been this weekend?
They know, and you never really know because they get us. They have a contracted rate where they have to fight a certain amount of fights, regardless of what fights they are. But if you're a main event, you get a size of the purse. Sorry, not the pay-per-view. Yeah, you get a portion of the pay-per-view. And really, they don't have to like disclose those numbers. And so you never really know what a guy makes. But like even Jose Canseco, it's rumored he made for that Rough and Rowdy like 3 months ago that he made $1 million. And I highly doubt that there's a UFC fighter in the past 2 or 3 years that in a UFC fight has made $1 million. Like I just don't think it has, right?
That's crazy. I didn't know that. Like, I mean, $1 million is obviously a lot of money, but like, I didn't know it was like that, especially when guys are fucking snapping their legs in half.
Well, exactly. And like, it's pretty evident when you find out that the two guys in UFC that made their money did it outside of the UFC, made huge purses, showing that's what they're worth if they can get it, right?
Mm-hmm. But you need to have a certain platform to do that, right? And like going up against a Jake or Logan Paul is.
But look, Jake Paul just made one. That's what Jake Paul's trying to say. He's like, I made it. I made my own platform, and now I'm getting millions of dollars to fight people, and everybody wants to fight me because now I can make their payday for them, right? And it's so funny to hear after years and years of UFC not being on ESPN and not being like in mainstream that now they're all of a sudden like you guys in your fly-by-night league, like no respect to real fighting. And it's like, you guys were the UFC. You guys can kick each other in the faces at one point. Like it's a weird snapshot in time when you see that now the one league that has never really been, taken seriously is now with ESPN and is kind of calling these other fly-by-night fighting things like just jokes, right? Yeah. But they're going, well, we're the ones making the money. We're making the money, right? This is interesting. I don't know. It's a sport. It's a sport of business, and it's why Dana White has this huge empire. It's why the UFC is worth $4 billion. Those contracts are important, and he doesn't give in to them.
Yeah, it's interesting. And whatever. Yeah, the Jake Paul conversation's an interesting one. I think the best performer. You guys see the stuff that Pete Davidson was doing at that fucking fight?
Well, yeah, I heard the fight was like crazy.
Yeah, it was great. Fuck, I had something else I wanted to bring up and I'm totally forgetting on it. Before we keep moving on though, should give some love to our friends at Twig and Berries, twigandberries.ca. I've been plugging that new look website. If you haven't checked it out yet, what the hell's wrong with you? Go look, twigandberries.ca. The promo code you want to use is Nation15. It gets you 15% off and free shipping in Canada on orders over $75. They got a good collaboration up right now. It's the first thing you see on their website. They're Peter and Nutsack underwear. It's very good. I think the review on here, it's worded very good. The softest buttery blend of bamboo and spandex, maximum comfort, quality, and our junk security in mind. Yeah, buttery. That's how you want. That might be the best word you want your underwear described as, is buttery.
Did they say bamboo in spandex? Like, are they talking about bamboo's your dick inside the spandex shorts, or is there bamboo in the boxers?
Blend of bamboo and spandex.
Yeah, it's bamboo. Like I have a bamboo
like
sweater.
Is bamboo inside a spandex pouch. Like there's a blend of bamboo and spandex in the material.
Sorry, Chuck. You're what?
I like it my way better. Agree to disagree.
I don't know what I said, Jay. I'm going to be honest. I don't.
So
my thing, is that what I said? My thing?
My thing.
What do you want me to say? Like hog? Like, come on.
Your wee wee here, Chuck?
Wee wee.
My schmeckle. It's my tiny schmeckle.
What?
He's my tiny schmeckle. In my twig and berries.
What is it?
twigandberries.ca. This podcast has been all over the place. Has anyone watched that F1 documentary series on Netflix?
It's in my queue, but I haven't watched it yet.
Yeah, it's on my list. I want to watch it soon. But I had an idea, and I wanted to pitch this to you, Chalmers. I was hoping you would have watched it, Charles. But anyways, I'm seeing people online, and I'm seeing these tweets and reports about how F1 is doing like insane numbers in the US now, and they're saying it's because of this fucking documentary. So what I'm saying is the NHL, now that they're going to have all this new money coming in, their TV deal in the States is worth like 3 times what their old TV deal was. It's insane.
No NBC, though, is interesting.
No NBC, but they have some money here. The NHL, should they not be going to whoever was in charge of this F1 documentary and going, do this for us? Come make this docuseries on the Seattle Kraken, the NHL's 32nd franchise. Like, I wonder if that's like a marketing ploy. Like the NFL's done that with their Hard Knocks, right? That's the one that follows 2 teams for training camp.
Yeah.
The NHL did that for a bit with like the Road to the Winter Classic and stuff, but kind of stopped. I wonder if that's maybe the future for the NHL. Maybe that's a way with your new TV deal coming, hit it like a tsunami and launch like a really cool Netflix branded series about like the Kraken or some shit.
They should be doing this in general. Like, they don't do any of this shit anyway.
So if we were going to brainstorm this for them, let's just say, and when you tell the story, I know the one about the F1, and I've heard lots of people say great things about it. Now, I believe the docuseries is a look at 1 year in the F1 and the race for the championship. Is that correct?
Yeah.
So
that'd be the season.
Okay. So that's an easy storyline for them. Almost right stuff, right? And so we've seen the NHL do the Road to the Winter Classic. I used to love them when it was the Washington and Pittsburgh Penguins season they did was so good. Like, I love that thing. What's a way you couldn't just focus on one team like a Hard Knock? I mean, you could, but if we're trying to get like other fans to absorb the NHL and understand it and buy in for the next season to the season to the NHL on a whole, what is the story to tell?
I think the Kraken is that angle, isn't it?
That's a story.
I mean,
I think you can go around and do each team. Like the interesting thing is now ESPN is on. They do such a good job of creating documentaries and whatnot. So I think there's a huge opportunity. I think you have to move it around. Like, I'm a giant Sunderland fan because of Sunderland Till I Die. The minute I can travel, I'm going to England. I'm going to watch a Sunderland game because Sunderland Till I Die has told a very good story about this football club, and I want to go and see it now, and I'm a fan.
But that's why I think you need to dial it in on like one team, right? You need to make it like a really good story. Because if it was just 30 documentaries about the EPL, would you have fucking watched it? As someone who doesn't follow that league? No.
And also, the very beginning, Jay, you said we need to do it on the whole league on a whole. There is zero chance you're going to tell the type of in-depth story that you
have
need
to pick
get
a
people
team.
in.
You have to pick a team a year.
Okay.
I even think just one team over and over again forever. Like they are the documentary team.
Well, then it better be the fucking Oilers, because like that's the only team I want the world to know about. That's my issue.
I'm trying to think of what it would be. Just like,
so why couldn't you do maybe like 6 and do them on like?
Yeah, you could maybe do a couple.
like rivalries. You know what I mean? Because the whole
or divisions, you could do 4.
Or divisions, you could do divisions. Especially like this year, you could have just focused on each division. That would have been good. 4 storylines, all about the division. But if you're doing something like just one on a Calgary Edmonton year-long series where you kind of follow both teams and then them come to a head, you'd have to have 6 different crews following 12 different teams. Like it's a huge undertaking.
Saying. And I think like the reason that Sunderland one was so interesting is because like that solo organization, that team had such an interesting angle to it, right? And I just think that like if you spread it too thin in the name of fairness, you might not dig into some good stories and hit like the jackpot that you're trying to hit, like what this F1 thing clearly did.
Well, and the F1 thing covers the whole thing,
yeah.
right? But you're right. I think Kraken is a great way to lead in because it's a unique story to tell, because there's a story of the draft that's coming up and all the trends. There's a lot of shit to cover in this year, and it's a team's first NHL season and how they're building a fan base and all those engagements that they're doing. There's a lot of stuff to work with there. But I think we're all in agreement that
so
creating
I mean,
content.
that the thing about documentaries is you don't know the end until you're at the end, right? And so when they did Sunderland, like you have to think that at some point they were like, what if this just ends with absolutely no climax? Like, so you could wait the whole year filming a team and then what? And then they just don't make the playoffs. And you're like,
but that's what happened with Sunderland. Like, not to spoil it, but like you get caught up. What they do a good job of is they do a good job of telling the story of the team, but what more importantly, telling the story of the fan base of the team. And that's what gets you hooked. And then and all of a sudden now when they're showing highlights of the games that they have coming up and must win things, like you're feeling it because they position that game that you're watching in the show so well. And they get you because you're watching it because you care about the cab driver, or you care about those 2 guys in the pub, or you care about the father and son, or the lady that's had the season tickets for 50 years or whatever. Like you meet all these people and you buy into them, and you're actually cheering for a Sunderland win because you want them to be happy.
I wish this is completely different, but I wish they would also do like the NHL has got so many stars that nobody knows anything about. So even just as a different thing they could do, following around guys that are stars in this league so people actually know who the fuck they're watching on a nightly basis. Like we got a glimpse of it in the summer from Whatever It Takes, the Connor McDavid documentary. That was fascinating to see how hard that guy works. And there's a handful of guys around the league that would probably be super cool to follow as well. I mean, it wouldn't be as great as just one team, but if we're going to do documentaries, they should do multiples because the NHL does such a bad job. Chalmers has ranted multiple times on this podcast about not knowing anything about Connor McDavid outside of what gets put out. So they could do so much along those lines.
If it wasn't for a certain podcast that I listen to religiously every day, I would have no idea that right now the Florida Panthers are playing great hockey and that Huberdeau and Barkov are like at their peaks. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
and that's one team. And that's one team. Like I'm just not focused enough on it, but I'm interested now. So I look to see how the Panthers do every day. You're getting me a random radio station in Florida is getting me to care enough about the Florida Panthers that I go and look to see how they did.
Are you talking Le Batard?
Yeah, they talk about it quite a bit. And and they have somebody on their staff who is, goes to the games and reports on the team, but is a huge Florida Panthers fan. It has been for a long, long time. And I really wouldn't know much about it if it wasn't for them, because I'm focused on the North Division right now, and when I watch highlights, I usually have something going on in the background. I usually have highlights going on and I'm doing something else, but it's just so important. And to your point, Tyler, if right now the NHL is not taking that money and actively creating, just like a Netflix would, about 10 or 12 ideas, and maybe only 2 of them pan out, then they're absolutely not doing their job right now.
I think a lot of people are a lot of casual fans maybe don't understand how big this ESPN thing could be for the NHL in the sense that like SportsCenter is still the flagship thing in the United States, right? Like that's what people flock to for their sports coverage. The average sports fan watches SportsCenter. ESPN up until this year, for however many years it's been in the past, really never had a reason to play hockey highlights. Like there wasn't one, but now that they have a vested interest because it's their investment, like all of a sudden hockey games might be leading SportsCenter to start the day. If there's a big game, the Stanley Cup playoffs might be on a pretty big stage even this year because ESPN will want to start drumming up interest for it. So I think the ESPN deal is huge. The TNT Turner Sports one is interesting because it bumps up the money of the whole deal a lot. And you might sit there as like an Oilers fan or as a Canadian hockey fan and be like, why do I give a shit? But man, the quicker that salary cap goes up, the better place that this team's going to be in as well. So like Oilers fans should be interested in this shit as well. And the more they grow the game, like the better the league's going to get. On Sunday Night Baseball, one of the announcers was talking about the Fernando Tatis, Trevor Bauer beef and how intense that got. It's unbelievable. Those some of the best baseball I've watched in a long time. He was talking about it. He goes, that's something baseball doesn't do well. And he goes, the other professional sports leagues in North America, like the NFL, the NBA, and soccer as well, they do a better job of it than MLB. NHL didn't even come on this dude's fucking radar as a professional sports league. That's how far they need to go in some places down in the States.
Well, and I think I said it. I think I said it 3 shows ago, and it wasn't my quote. I'd heard it, but this person said, like, you don't matter if you're not on SportsCenter.
Yeah.
And hockey wasn't not on SportsCenter. And this has put them on SportsCenter. And now hockey in the States is going to start to matter again because over time it wears people out. The thing, so I think it's funny that you brought up the Tatis and Trevor Bauer. For what you don't know, Trevor Bauer has become baseball's best troll. And he, sometimes he'll pitch with one eye closed because he says he gets bored. He's just a troll. And he's great at it. But he said the best thing I've heard from a baseball pitcher in a long time because he was going back and forth with Tatis and Tatis hammered a home run off of him and did his kind of celebration or like one item, just showed him up. And in the post game, basically Trevor Bauer said, he got me and I appreciate it. And you know what I'm not going to do is I'm not going to come out and hit a guy just to show my frustration with him celebrating. I think that's the way of the past. You shouldn't be hitting guys for celebrating. We should try and do better as a sport than to do that, to refer back to that, having to nail it. It's a cowardly way to do it. He said, I think he even said, he's like, that's what cowards do. And so I'd like to hear a pitcher be like, yeah, I want him to celebrate. And the last thing I'm going to do is bean the next guy because he did it. I'm going to just like take it because that's what we should be doing. Hitting a baseball is hard. These guys should be able to celebrate. I thought it was great.
An interesting conversation that was brought up today, like just talking about the personalities and all that. As soon as it was kind of said the NHL is going to be on TNT, the conversation jumped to like, who is hockey's Charles Barkley? Who's that guy? Is there one that you think
like
of?
Milbury?
Is he though? Because he's just sort of like universally laughed at and hated, whereas Barkley is like respected right?
Jeremy Roenick?
Maybe Milbury's the Shaq. I don't know.
No, I think Milbury's the doofus.
Yeah.
Maybe Jeff O'Neill's a little bit like Barkley.
Like O-Dog, right? Like O-Dog would be good. I can't get enough of that guy. I think he's fucking hilarious.
You know who's developing into that guy, and I hate to say it just because of the history with him. Is Kevin Bieksa.
I hate to say it too. I know.
He's good.
He's really fucking good, man. And it's just like it sucks that he's a player we hated for years because he's good at what he does.
Yeah, he is. He brings a good tone and perspective.
On his shelf, he usually has everything exactly the same, except for he changes one picture out every time. Yeah. And it's always something that's like relevant. Like one time he had a tweet from like somebody else, like another hockey player calling him like an awful announcer or something. So he like framed the tweet or whatever.
Oh, it's great.
He's clever. I got to give it to him. I hate Kevin Bieksa was like in the pantheon of the top 5 hockey players I've hated the most in my whole life, like with Dion Phaneuf, like Kevin Bieksa, like John Avery.
But that hate
Ryan
comes from
Kessler.
like a.
Oh God, Ryan Kessler.
But that hate comes from like a level of respect too, right? Because so it's.
Yeah, but he's good, man. I gotta.
Oh, that's what I'm saying. Like he's good. You know who else is good? I was watching the NBC feed yesterday. I watched I wanted to see Tay play against Pittsburgh.
Jared Stoll.
Patrick Sharp. Patrick Sharp.
Yeah.
Patrick Sharp's good.
He is so good. Like
Versteeg's good.
Shocking. Versteeg is good.
Steger's good. Yeah. There was just quickly on Bieksa. There was a moment in a broadcast. This was a few months ago, where he chirped Friedman, I think, about his suit, and Friedman goes, geez, it's not as bad as your tie. And Bieksa fucking straight face looked at him, goes, my daughter bought it for me. And then like didn't crack a fucking smile. And there was like 2.5 seconds of awkward silence of them all being like, what?
Hey, you know what's so funny good. Though? He's probably lying. He probably did.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah. It was good. But that's good. That's quick wits. Like that's good television.
That's the kind of shit they do on like the NBA on TNT, which is allowed that panel to like fucking win awards, right? Like
that's
you got
why Bieksa would be my guy who's the Charles Barkley, and it pains me to say it, but he needs another one.
Yeah, like it's an interesting spot where hockey has an opportunity here, whether it's ESPN or whoever, they can almost pick a new face of the sport in a weird way, right? Mm-hmm. It'll be interesting to see how that goes down.
He's a great analyst, but I imagine he's going to end up in an executive job at some point. Is Kevin Weeks?
Yeah, Weeks.
The NHL needs to put more of him on TV because he's a great analyst.
He was on the DFO rundown, and he was an absolute beauty to chat with. But yeah, he's getting a GM job soon. He isn't long for TV work. He's too good for that, I think.
Yeah, well, that's what I mean. He's going to get that role eventually. But in the meantime,
like Luongo too, right? Luongo would have been a great fit for that. But he's like getting GM jobs with Hockey Canada already. Like he's not going to be.
Was Cam Neely ever kind of like a Charles Barkley?
Well, he's been working in management for like a decade now too.
I'm fixated on this Charles Barkley and NHL question. I just keep thinking of guys. I can't think of anybody, man.
You know, it'd be great, but he's coaching, so it would never work. It's fucking Mac T. Mac T's.
Oh yeah.
His interview that he did that we posted on social the other day. He is just a quote machine. I love when he is in front of a camera, and I will never get tired of watching Mac T interviews.
He was good on TSN.
A phenomenal trash talker in his day.
Must have been. Or he was saying shit that was too smart that the other guys just didn't get it.
Oh yeah, I got a lot of time for that.
Yeah.
How was speaking of DFO rundown and quirky Charles Barkley type people? How was Jarmo Kekalainen?
Oh man, I got to give Gregor credit for a question he hit Kekalainen with at the end. So we're chatting in the interview, and Kekalainen dropped in that he wanted to be a coach. He didn't want to be like a manager, but he just kind of fell into being a manager and was on that side of things instead of coaching. And the last rapid fire question, which Gregor always does a great job with, the last rapid fire question, he goes, if Jarmo Kekalainen was a coach, how often would he healthy scratch players? Because of fucking everything Tortorella's been doing there.
What was his answer?
And Kekalainen laughed, and he was like, it's the best. I don't remember the exact answer, but he was like, it's the best tool a coach has, so I'd use it whenever I need to. And after the interview, Kekalainen kind of was like, that was a lot of fun. Thanks, guys. And when he started the interview, he looked like a dude whose team was on like a whatever game losing streak they were on. Like he looked pissed. But by the end of it, he was chuckling a little bit. It was if you haven't checked out the DFO rundown, the episode with Kekalainen was very, very good. It was fun.
I just started it. I'm not at the interview point yet, but it's about to happen.
It almost seems like Torts is trying to get himself fired or something, doesn't it?
Well, because he doesn't have a contract after this year. I think he's just sick of shit and is like, I don't care what happens. Like, I'm going to do things my way. I'm going to go out on my own terms. Like, he's healthy scratching everyone. Domi's been healthy scratched. Laine's been healthy scratched. I think Roslovic has been healthy scratched. Like, no one is safe in that organization.
You know what? Don't give Torts another coaching job. Get him back on TV because he was also hilarious.
Yeah,
he'd be really good.
Yeah, but he's too close to the line every time. Like, it's just a matter of time before he gets himself fired. That's the problem with him, and that's why nobody will give him a job. I guarantee it, because they're just too worried. He's just too.
I think in an analyst role though, he would have more fun with it, and he might not get as fired up, and he might just have like legitimately like funny takes and stuff.
Because he used to do it on TSN once upon a time.
Yeah.
I'll never forget one time they were doing Tampa highlights and it went to a shootout. Marty St. Louis didn't get chosen to go in the shootout. And Torts' quote was, "Put him in the goddamn shootout." So when they did the replay of that same segment after, they made him re-record his entire bit. It was the best.
When we were kids, who was on the broadcast for the Oilers?
Rod Phillips.
Jeez. Rod Phillips, yeah.
I thought Rod was on the radio.
Yeah, he was on radio. Who were the big TV analysts or whatever?
Who were the big TV
Dave
guys?
Hodge, Don Cherry,
but not for Oilers games.
No,
I remember when
games.
Ferraro was our color guy for a long time.
Yeah,
Ferraro would be an excellent hire for ESPN.
Ferraro's awesome.
He's the best.
I know it was Kevin Quinn, but who, like, before that, like, even 10 years ago, who the hell was
Kevin Quinn? Did it for like 20 years, man.
Yeah, it could be Kevin.
Oh,
Quinn.
did he?
Yeah. I remember
how quickly we're forgetting about Kevin Quinn. Hey, Jack is just doing such a great job this year.
And I love Quinner.
I do too, but I'm just saying.
Yeah, nothing wrong with him, but it's just Jack's next level. I can't wait for playoff mode Jack.
It's like comparing like a really nice sports car to like a fighter jet when you compare Quinn to Michaels. Like Michaels is just on another level, man. Like he's screaming, he's into it. What?
Yeah, I'm trying to see if I can find it, but I can't.
I just wanted to make sure Bag Milk was looking it up. I figured he was because usually he's on that type of stuff. But you know what? I'm really, really excited for tonight's game.
Yeah.
I don't know why. Like, unreasonably excited for it.
Are we all buying into the Ryan Macleod hype?
Yes, I'm drinking it so much Ryan Macleod Kool-Aid. It's insane.
All right, Chalmers, how far do you want me to go back, buddy? I got the answers for you.
Okay, so mid 80s.
Okay, so starting in 1979 to 1983, Tim Dancy was the play-by-play.
The dance man.
There was Jerry Pinder was there. Gary Dornhofer was doing color. Bruce Buchanan started in 1983, and he went through until 1992.
Oh, so he got all the glory years.
So there was a laundry list of color commentators in there. Harry Neal, John Garrett, Steve Shutt.
John Garrett. Yeah.
Gary Dornhofer.
Garrett was this.
Then from there, in 1992 to 1995, it went to Al Nagy. Al Nagy had a series of color commentators: John Garrett, Harry Neal, Jim Poplinski, Greg Millen. 1995 to 1997. How many people remember Roger Millions doing it?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, I do.
And he had, again, the same kind of collection of color commentators. Then it went back to Bruce Buchanan, 1997 to 98. 1997 to about 2001 was Bruce Buchanan. And again, John Garrett, Harry Neal, Jim Poplinski, Greg Millen, Craig Simpson was also in the mix there from 97 to 2001. 2001 to 2003, it was Greg Millen and Craig Simpson, or not Greg Millen, sorry, Kevin Quinn. That's when he came in, 2001. Yeah. So 2001 to 2003 was Kevin Quinn and Craig Simpson. 03 to 08 was Kevin Quinn and Ray Ferraro. 08 to 2014, Kevin Quinn and Louis. 2014 to 18, Kevin Quinn and Drew. 2018 to 2020, Kevin Quinn and Louis DeBrusque and Drew Remenda. And then we're here with Jack and Louis.
Did you guys see Drew Remenda's already back doing Sharks games?
Oh, shocker.
Yeah. Like, I saw that because he took like a month. He did the Marlowe retirement thing. He did that thing.
I saw that, and I saw Friedman shout him out in 31 Thoughts. And I saw it, and I was like, holy shit, Remenda's back with the Sharks already. Then at first I was like, I shouldn't be that surprised. I'm like, it literally took him like a month to get back to doing Sharks games.
He must be so happy, you know?
Back living in San Jose, probably.
Oh, he's living his best life now.
I got to say, I don't remember Bruce Buchanan, though.
No,
that name kind of sounds familiar. Yeah, we would have been so young. So like,
but like not necessarily 97 to 2001. We were, teenagers at least.
But the thing is, like back then, you didn't get all the home games. Remember, like Oilers games was like 10 televised a year. Like it was really, really weird. That's why a lot of people know Rod, because you were stuck having to listen to radio.
Yep, that's a good point. That's very, very true. I remember when games would pop up on A Channel.
Yeah, A Channel came in and got games, and I think for some reason Gene Principe was with A Channel. I remember that much.
Wasn't Darren Dreger with A Channel too?
Dreger. Yep. Yeah, he was the Darren Dutitian. Darren Dutitian was on ITV or Global or whatever it was at that time before he headed out east.
Fuck, that's a guy we should try to get on the pod.
Dutch?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Pod gap.
I still think
Perry
of him.
Solkowski.
Yeah, I still think of Darren Dutitian anytime the push-pull drag events come up because he used to always do the commercials for those.
Oh yeah, he's a unit.
Oh yeah.
Let's talk a little Oilers. Let's talk about the lineups tonight.
Yeah, let's wrap up with
new
a little
guys,
Oilers talk.
New
here.
friends.
Who are we most excited for? Who do you think's gonna? Here's the question.
Friends.
I'm gonna write down the timestamp of this question. Who will have a bigger impact when we look back on this season? Dmitry Kulikov or Ryan Macleod?
I'll just start. Dmitry Kulikov to me. I think that's too much pressure to put on Ryan Macleod.
Like I want it to be Macleod. I think Kulikov, we know what we're getting. He's going to be fine. I'm just really cheering for Ryan Macleod for a few reasons. This is a guy we drafted like second round, like some
40th overall.
Third. Yeah. Right. And we've developed and he has earned his call up. And I just really hope this is like, he just is able to take that step. And he's playing on the third line with Devin Shore, who shows he can score, and our boy Josh Archibald, who will run everyone through a wall and open up some space for our big boy Macleod here. So I love the storyline. Like I'm not being like, oh, he's going to score like he's going to get 10 goals here from here to the end of the season. But like I just want him to like look like he fits in, and I think that's a huge win because that's a big body, man, and we're lacking size right now with Kara and Cassian out. And wheels, and not the Macleod's like a fighter or anything, or even a banger or crasher, but he's a big body and can play heavy hockey if we need it. So I'm excited for him. I'm also excited for Cahoon getting a shot on the first line, seeing what McDavid can do with him. Like Cahoon does show some brilliance, and McDavid might be able to insulate Cahoon's kind of deficiencies up on that top line, and to have the dry line back, like that's huge. And if Kulikov's a shutdown guy with Larson's a shutdown guy. Fuck, like that could be a stone wall in the blue line. Like I don't know. I drink the Kool-Aid.
You got to
point of fault, but
before you guys and Jason Greger post game day lineups, where do you guys get those?
Dailyfaceoff.com.
Yeah, dailyfaceoff.com has them. Or you just kind of have to wait until the pregame skate.
Yeah, they're not accurate. The way the season's going, like the lineups are like 90% of the time right.
Yeah. And I was talking to Gregor. I was writing a weekend GDB. This was probably 2-3 weeks ago now at this point, but I texted him. I was like, do you have anything on the lineups? Because what got put out. So the Oilers send out a stats email on game days, and the line combos in there were just completely inaccurate. So it's just, this year is such a train wreck. I laugh every time I talk to Brock over at Daily Faceoff. I'm just like, how's it going? He's just like, fucking starting goalies is driving me crazy, man. Cause nobody's confirming goalies this year either. What a gong show.
Yeah. Before we wrap up here, cause I got a couple more hockey things quickly. Manscaped.com. It's spring cleaning time. You're raking your lawn. I don't know if you can hear it on the pod, but there's a guy in my complex right now with a leaf blower. And I swear he's been standing in front of my window for like, I don't know, the entire podcast, just blowing one spot. Anyways, get your own spring cleaning done in terms of your body in your downstairs area with our friends at manscaped.com. Click the little Canadian flag up at the top, changes everything to Canadian pricing. And if you use the promo code REALLIFE, you will get 20% off. The Perfect Package 3.0 comes with the Lawnmower 3.0, the Crop Preserver, Crop Reviver, Magic Mat, and you get a pair of boxers and the travel bag as well. That's a hell of a deal. And with our promo code, it's going to go from about $245 down to like just over $100, free shipping included. Manscaped.com. Check them out. Just quickly, we're going to get, so Oilers Jets tonight at 7, but there's a couple games now in the North. All of a sudden there's a playoff race. And if tonight's game, Montreal-Calgary, is in a way Calgary's last chance to stay in this thing, which I didn't even think I'd be saying a week ago. But if Calgary wins, they are 2 points back of Montreal with one more game played. So Calgary could only be 2 points back by the time things even up. And then you got Vancouver. If Vancouver wins tonight and Montreal loses, Vancouver will be just 6 points back of the Habs with 5 games in hand. There's a chance the Habs don't make the playoffs here.
Crazy.
Insane. I didn't think we'd be saying that 10 days ago. I've been saying this thing is locked up for like a month now. And I might have been wrong. Like the Habs are panicking. They're calling up Cole Caulfield for the game tonight. Like this might get interesting in the North, and I'm okay with it. I'm here for it. I want to see a playoff race.
100%.
A week ago, you were like, fuck the Vancouver Canucks. Why are they even bothering?
Yeah.
They have no shot.
Well, also,
they have a shot.
It is amazing. Montreal has only won 20 hockey games.
They've won
got
less
so many
games
Bettman
than the
points.
Calgary Flames.
Their collection of Bettman points really is something to behold, isn't it?
Man, if Vancouver can go on a heater too, like,
I like all I care about really is that Edmonton goes on a heater. The rest is inconsequential to me. Like scoreboard watching is fun and magic numbers are great. Just win and you're in. That's all I care about. And the thing tonight, is it true, Tyler, that Ehlers is out for the season?
Yeah, he's not going to play the rest of this year. They said they're confident he'll be good to go for playoff time.
And is Wheeler out tonight too? Because he got his bell rung the other day.
No, Wheeler was in the lineup. No Lowry, though, for Winnipeg. And there's that beef going on with Scheifele and Maurice, where Maurice benched him. Scheifele came out and was like, I didn't like it. I'm not happy about it. So, like, I don't know, man. It seems like there's a lot of shit going on in this North Division. It might actually be a pretty fun end of the season here.
Bet on Edmonton.
Yeah, I like Edmonton's dogs.
To this point, the Oilers have also owned Hellebuck this year as well.
Yeah. We
the only forward
really well against them.
The only forward they haven't been able to shut down against Winnipeg this year is Nick Ehlers, and he's not playing anymore. So
and Kyle Connor.
Yeah, Kyle Connor's good. Eh?
Yeah, Connor's been
Winnipeg's got depth.
All right. It's another game day. Busy game day as always on Oilers Nation. The pregame show with Jay and Josh brought to you by Deuce Vodka. That goes 3:30 on game days, right, Jay?
We're going to try and do, 3:30. We always try to shoot for.
Keep it locked. It's live on our Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, and YouTube. I got a pregame podcast. All the written shit as well from Gregor and the group there is always up on Oilers Nation. As we head towards playoff time, we are building up momentum here. It's going to be a fun ride. Enjoy the game tonight. Guys, this was a good podcast. We went to a lot of different places.
Yeah, it was good. It was fun.
It was a little bit all over the place. We buried in some Oilers talk right at the end, though, which is good because this is ultimately a bit of an Oilers podcast, I suppose.
I have to admit, I believe that all over the place is the exact lane that we should live in. I believe it's when we are the best.
It's been our brand since day one.
When we just
can't lean into it.
Yeah.
I love it. I think it's because it's the most interesting to me. I know that when we just, time flies when we get up on like 10 topics.
Yeah.
You don't even have to be experts on them. Just touch on them. Let people go, so use their Google machine to maybe search up some of the things we're talking about.
Don't fact check us, though. Never do that.
No, don't do that.
Yeah, an hour flew by today. This has been episode 276 of the Real Life Podcast. Shout out to Oodle Noodle, Twig and Berries, and Manscaped. Shout out to the three of you for joining me for an hour as well. This was a ton of fun. Enjoy the game tonight, boys. We'll talk again on Thursday.
Great job on making it through the entire hour of the Real Life Podcast. Don't forget to like and subscribe wherever you get your podcasts from.